Okay, when we're talking about compound and steroid formulations, you have different types. You have the injectables, and we talked about um, IV, IM, SCID. When you talk about IV, we're talking about intravenous. Sometimes this could be as a IV drip, for example, intramuscular that you find, for example, with a vaccine, a subcutaneous we find with a TB shot or looking for allergies. That could also be ID with intradermal, depending on the type of formulation that's being injected. So all of these need to be sterile. Um, Things that goes into the eye, a lot of the lotions, the ointments, the drops, also has to have a sterile formulation. Things that are going into the nose, intranasal, for example, associated with a decongestant that's going into um, the nose, intranasal, and otic, things that are going into the air. Those also need to be sterile. Okay, inhalation, for example, you see that associated with asthma devices. These are just all different types of sterile formulations that are important. Okay, and certain types of sterile uh, solutions are called the sterile intravenous solutions, or these are large volume preparations. And large volume preparations are very important. A lot of times you see them with the IV drip that you find in a hospital, usually over 100 milliliters or more. They're done to correct imbalances, and they can be a vehicle of administration different drugs. They're usually found in a plastic bag or in a glass bottle, and you have many different types. You have what's called dextrose, 5%. We have the 9% sodium chloride, or NS. Remember, we talked about that at the beginning. You find emphasis in medicine when we had to think it through. We talked about the SS NS solution. We have Ringer solution and lactated Ringer solution. So when we talk about LVP solution, these are large volume parenteral solutions, and these are intravenous solutions packaged in containers holding 100 milliliters or more. The administration set ports has a plastic cover on it to maintain the stability of the bag, and the medication port is covered by a protective rubber tip. Okay, and you'll see that in some upcoming slides. Well, you see it right now. So if you look over here, okay, you find that it is a very large bag. Here you have an IV pump that allows for a constant flow into the individual. This could be another medication that's also being added, or the medication could be added within the IV drip. And sometimes you see like there's something associated with um, something to maintain the electrolyte balance of the individual. Okay, so here we have the different parts of it. This part here that we look in here is called the administrative set port. Here is called the medication port, and this is part of an administration set. Okay, so again, we're talking about in this particular case small uh, volume parenterals. And you see that you can have many different types. You just have them in vials, okay? Um, Vials here, you can have that in the syringe. And these are all important ways of getting medication into the individual, but they have to be sterile. So these are primarily used to deliver medication. These could be ampules, as you see here, pre-filled syringes, as you see here, or multi-dose or single-dose vials, as you can see here. Okay, So there's certain definitions that are very important that comes to play. Additive. Additive, a drug that's added to parenteral solution. An admixture, the resulting solution where the drug is added to parenteral solution, very important. Okay. Here you have what is called ready to mix solutions. They are very important. And this is where you put in, two different type of chemicals together that can be delivered in a sterile condition. Okay, so when we talk about ready-to-mix system, it consists of specially designed mini bags, as you can see here, with an adapter for attaching a drug vial, as you can see here. The admixture takes place just prior to the administration. Okay, and remember we just defined admixture. When we talk about admixture, talk about defining mixture. This is when a SVP is added to a parenteral solution is referred to as the additive. Defining mixture is referred to as the admixture. The major advantages of ready-to-mix systems include significant reduction in waste, a low potential for the medication error because the drug vial remains attached to the mini bag and can be rechecked if necessary. Okay, and you have different types. One is called Advantage, Add a Vial, Mini Bag Plus, and CRISP, which stands for Controlled Release Infusion System. So there are certain type of techniques that's necessary when aseptically adding a drug solution to a large parenteral or even a small parenteral vial. They include, generally, LPP solutions are used as a primary or continuous infusion solution by administering them in a slow infusion rate. Drug additives can then be introduced directly into the LPP with a syringe and needle. Drug additives can also be introduced into the LPP at the Y connection of administrative set. Drug additives are also put in the mini bags, such as a piggyback on the LPP. And we looked at that over here, here's your mini bag, and we also looked at that right over here. Okay, these are areas in which drugs can be added. Okay, so all of these scenarios require a syringe and needle to transfer the drug additive into the plastic bag or administration set injection port. The needle must be at least a ½ inch long and not less than 19 gauge to ensure that in the diagram of the port will be penetrated and that the protective rubber cover will be seen. To transfer a drug additive to an LVP or SVP container or an administration set with a needle and syringe, you must do the following. Remove the protective covering from the injection port. Assemble the needle and syringe and aseptically withdraw the necessary drug additive volume. Swab the injector port with an alcohol swab. Hold the injection port with one hand and insert the needle into the port with the other hand. Hold the port in such a way that the fingers are out of the way in case the needle punctures through the port. The injection port should be fully extended to minimize the chance of puncture through the port. Inject the drug additive solution. Remove the needle. Okay, and then finally you will do an inspection of the admixture, making sure that everything is correct. You have what is called TPN, and TPN are very, very important. TPN stands for Total Parenteral Nutrition. They are given to individuals who may be, for example, within a coma, and they cannot take food or materials through their mouth, and they have to be nourished. So nutritional support to patients who are unable to take adequate nutrients, contains macro and micronutrients such as dextrose proteins. These are macronutrients because they're very large. And then we talked about electrolytes, sodium chloride, potassium chloride, magnesium sulfate. These are very small molecules. These are electrolytes. They have vitamin and trace elements. That could be, for example, like iron. It could be one of them. And then they have a lipid emulsion, such as fatty acids and other calories. Right. So again, these are very important. These admixtures are composed of dextrose, fat, protein, electrolytes, vitamins, and trace elements. And they are hypertonic solutions. And they come in many different sizes, right? Very large. So they will fall. So they will. They are useful for the treatment of individuals who cannot take in nutrients in any other way. Okay. So again, administered via the subclavian vein, which is located actually in the neck area over a 8-hour to 24-hour period. All right, let's look at dialysis solution. And when we talk about dialysis, this refers to the passage of small particles through membranes. Okay, the mechanism by which this occurs to the process of osmosis, where you have the action in which the drug is in solution of a higher concentration, will move through a permeable membrane to a solution of a lower concentration. Okay, so this is a biosmosis process that allows for dialysis to work. You have something called parenteral dialysis, as you see here. Okay, individuals who have had serious kidney challenges, the solution is placed and emptied from the parenteral cavity to remove toxins in the body, using hypertonic, and this is administered several times a day. So a very important method, and again, all of this has to be sterile. Imagine what would happen if this is contaminated. This is a sterile location, and so it will allow for super growth of bacteria within the abdominal cavity. All right, so let's go ahead and define a few words here. You have dialysis, movement of particles in a solution to permeable membranes. You have irrigation solution, which is large volume splash solution used during surgical and urological procedure to moisten body tissue. You have osmosis, the action in which a drug is in a higher concentration solution passed through a permeable membrane to a lower concentration solution. And you should also note the following. When we talk about peritoneal dialysis solution, a solution placed in and emptied from a peritoneal cavity to remove toxic substances. Okay, all very important definitions to know. So, irrigation solutions. So, when we talk about irrigation solution, are not administered directly into the venous system, but are subject to the same stringent controls as intravenous fluids. A lot of times there are in containers more than 100,000 milliliters or 1 liter, and they're designed to be emptied rapidly. And this is done over surgical areas, for example, in the abdomen, surgery to kind of like clear out any other debris in a sterile capacity, right? So surgical irrigation solutions or splash solutions are typically sodium chloride for irrigation or still water for irrigation, right? And so what do they do? They're used to bathe and moisten body tissue, moisten dressing, and to wash your instruments. Okay. And then you can have what they call urological solutions, which is done to maintain tissue integrity and remove blood to maintain a clear field of vision. For the surgeon, in most cases, is trying to correct any particular challenges occurring. All right, let's look at administrative sets.